Hey everyone, happy Monday and welcome to Season 3 of the Parent Podcast. I hope you had an amazing time of worship this weekend with our church family here at ABC. I'm Josh, I'm the youth pastor here at Acton Baptist, and I want to thank you for joining me on your drive, your lunch break, or that time you set aside just for this each week. So, without further ado, let's get to it. As we talked about last week, parenting can hurt sometimes. Our teens somehow know the exact button to push, the exact words to say that will send a parent spiraling and wonder where we went wrong. So, today, I want to share a few things to remember when parenting hurts. I've been in youth ministry and around teenagers for roughly 15 years. I've been able to walk with parents and teenagers for all of those years, and it never gets easier when a parent is hurt by their kid. The teenage years are filled with these opportunities, and it's important that we're prepared for when they come. First thing we need to do is remember that we can only control ourselves. We can control their environment, but we can't control their thoughts, their words, their actions, or even their reactions. But we can control ours. We can control how we react, how we can choose the words that we use, and we can show them exactly who Christ is in our lives by the way we control ourselves. Through that, we can offer guidance and we can offer grace. Second, we have to remember that this is a season and seasons change. And can I get an amen for that statement? These teenage years go by so quick. Their bodies, their brains, their words, their opinions, they're always changing. You know, the National Institute of Mental Health reminds us that the prefrontal cortex of the human brain doesn't finish developing until their mid-20s. And guess what? That's the part of the brain that's responsible for planning, prioritizing, and my personal favorite, rational decision-making. Remember, this is a difficult season that doesn't last very long. Some seasons, and let me reemphasize, some seasons just need to run their course. We can offer peace in the rocky times and be patient as they grow. Third, we have to remember to decipher between what's an actual issue and what's just our preference. I think this can be one of the most difficult things we do as a parent. I mean, I'm a huge Red Sox fan, and I have been my whole life. Love the game. And if for some reason my daughter ends up, dating and marrying a Yankees fan someday when she's older, I have to ask myself if this is an actual issue or just a preference. Obviously, this is an actual issue for me, but all jokes aside, we need to take the time to distinguish between what's harmful or wrong from what is just annoying or childish. Our goal as parents is to give love to our children freely, and love takes a careful hand when giving truth. Fourth, we have to remember, we don't know how everything is going to end. Your favorite story has tension in it. Your favorite movie would be pretty boring if nothing ever happened to the protagonist. And obviously I'm making a difficult subject simple, but we have to trust that God has the best in mind for our teenagers. The hard truth is that our kids might go through some dark, scary, lonely places before they surrender to God. Being faithful is also understanding that the God who has saved my soul wants what's best for my kid too. We constantly point our teenagers to the one who won't fail them, and through that, we stay faithful. Fifth, we have to remember that our kids are independent of us. We teach and we train them to be fully functioning adults, and they'll move from full dependency to independence, and they learn how to make decisions on their own. And the scary thing is, we have to trust that we've done a good enough job to constantly be that voice they remember when making decisions. And they're going to remember either a gentle guiding hand, or they're going to remember the opposite of that. Next, we have to remember that not everything is a reflection of our parenting. I'm going to say something that has really helped me as a parent, and as I'm parenting my kid, as we've walked with parents as well. Sometimes the choices our kids make have nothing to do with how we raise them. I want to say that one more time. Sometimes the choices your kid makes have nothing to do with how you raise them. Our kids are responsible for their own actions. My wife and I, and forgive me if you've ever said this to us, but it does make us laugh. My wife and I sometimes laugh when people comment about how good our kid is around other people, especially kids who are younger than her. My own brothers have said it to us. First, we laugh and we ask ourselves, are they surprised she's acting good, or are they surprised that we were able to raise her to be like that? Second, we laugh because we wonder why that's not an expectation. But my child's choices don't always have to be about how I raised her to be. I'm blessed to have a genuinely kind person growing up in my house. I'm blessed to have a kid growing up knowing that she's supposed to reflect the love of God to those around her. There's great joy in knowing that God can shine through our kids, but there's great joy in knowing that God has everything handled as well, even when things aren't going as well as we'd hope. Finally, and here's one to remember every day. When God calls us, He's the one who equips us. You've been given your child by God. And luckily, God doesn't leave it for us to figure out how to be good parents. He gives us everything we need. He is faithful and He is sufficient. And in case you haven't noticed, most of these reminders are based on a key verse for those of us who follow Christ. In Galatians 5, verses 22 and 23 says, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. The law is not against such things. In parenting, let what God is already doing through you to shine out. Show your teen where your peace is found. Be patient because it's what God is doing in you. Have self-control when you just want to yell. And at the end of the day, our parenting can lead our kids toward God or away from Him. So, as Pastor Mark has been preaching, in your personal growth, are the fruits of the Spirit growing within you? In our shared growth, are you making sure that you are being able to practice those around people? And then just this past Sunday, with your faith at home, are your kids seeing what God is doing in your life through your parenting? A few announcements before we finish up today. First, on September 20th, following the Granbury High School Pirates football game, I want to invite you to come by the youth room. It's National Pepperoni Pizza Day, so we're going to celebrate with some pizza and a few activities inside the youth room. So, hope to see you after the game on the 20th. Then, on Wednesday the 25th, it is National See You at the Pole morning. It's the student-led prayer that starts at 7 a.m. And then that evening, our youth ministry will be taking part in Fuse. We'll be taking a bus over to GHS Auditorium as we're going to meet with other youth ministries throughout our area for a night of worship together. Remember that See You at the Pole is student-led on their campus at 7 a.m. Fuse will go until about 8 o'clock, so please expect us back at the church by 8:30. And then finally, it is almost pumpkin season. Our Pumpkin Patch fundraiser begins October 13th and will run through the 31st. Students can sign up to work the patch in the foyer in front of the worship center, and we are always looking for parents and church volunteers as well. Thank you so much for listening today. Know that I'm always praying for you and your family. If you haven't already, make sure to follow our social media accounts on Facebook and Instagram by searching for AB Youth Min. Also, go ahead and share our podcast so our reach can go out that much further. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you here at Acton Baptist and on the Parent Podcast next week.